Hello YouTube, welcome to Rob's Arcade. As per usual, I'm your host Rob, and I gotta make this intro pretty quick. See, I got myself in a little situation over here, because I made a mistake of bad-mouthing a classic Star Wars character, saying that he went out like a complete punk in Return of the Jedi. Well, I got you. This classic Star Wars character has his own show on Disney Plus now, and this episode is devoted entirely to him. So, let's check out what we're going to be drawing as I find my way out of here. Hadouken! Well, Player 2s, it wasn't easy, but I finally managed to fight my way out of there. You know what is going to be easy, however, is this episode's art class, because I'm going to show you all how to draw Boba Fett using only simple shapes. It's going to be a lot of fun, too. And then when we're done with that, we're going to head on down to the Classic Game Showcase and spend some time with Star Wars Trilogy Arcade, my all-time favorite Star Wars game. So, how about we check our supplies and get ready to start our art class before anything else happens. Okay, Player 2s, I am super excited about this one because we're going to draw one of my favorite all-time Star Wars characters, Boba Fett. The first thing that we're going to do is we're going to draw a circle. We're going to use the same process we always use, so we're going to press very lightly with our pencils, and we're going to draw a circle. Pretty simple so far, right? Inside of this circle, we're going to, again, very lightly, draw a guideline right down the middle of our circle, cutting the circle in half. What we want to do with this image is we want to keep everything symmetrical, which symmetrical means even on both sides. So by drawing this guideline and splitting everything in half, this is going to make it easier for us to draw on both sides of it, keeping everything even. About halfway through our circle, we're going to draw another guideline, again very lightly through there. We're going to leave a little gap about this big, and inside, or I'm sorry, at the bottom, we're going to draw just a straight line, about that big. Again, we're going to try to keep it even on both sides. Starting right here, where this line meets, actually this may be a little bit easier for you Player 2s. Right about here we're going to draw another guideline. And kind of this little ghost area. This is going to help us with our next step. So back to what I was saying before, we're going to start right about here where the guideline meets, and we're just going to do a slight diagonal line. Just a little bit. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. A slight diagonal line. Again, we're going to try to keep it even, ending right where that guideline that we just drew in. We have our lines right here. We're going to take the ends of our lines and we're going to draw diagonal lines that connect. So we should have something that looks very similar to this. If you don't, that's okay. Pause the video, rewind the video, erase your lines. That's why we draw this very lightly. We will make mistakes along the way. That's how we learn. So by having these guidelines here, if you can completely ignore the guidelines, again, Player 2s, don't trace over this. I'm just doing this to show you. We have inside of here one solid shape. So if we take out all these guidelines, we still have the shape that goes around like that. Starting right about here, we're going to draw a line right across our image. Again, we're going to try to make everything straight and even.
On top of this guideline, we have our little line right here. We're going to draw 2 small triangles. One triangle here, one triangle here. That's just for a little detail that Boba Fett's helmet has that we'll go back to later on in the drawing. Over here, we're going to draw a little circle. I'm sorry, like kind of like a backward letter C, or letter C in general. This is just to indicate a little dent on the helmet of his helmet. Starting right about here, we're going to draw a curved line that goes down through here, right to about here. We're going to be making kind of a letter T shape, but we're going to do it by drawing the curves on the outside of it. So again, we're going to do the same thing right about here. We're going to do it about the same size. We're going to have our curve go in at about the same point and end at the same point. So it's going to be something like this. Again, we're going to try to make this as symmetrical as possible. As you can see, I just made a little mistake that I'm erasing along the way, so nobody is perfect, and that's how we learn. We make mistakes, we fix our mistakes, we learn from our mistakes. Right about here where this line ends, we're going to draw a little rectangle. We're going to go along the guidelines that we have there. And we're going to do the same thing on this side, except we're going to make it a little larger, and we're going to curve it at the top, and we're going to bring it up a little bit more. So right about there, we're going to hit our curve, and go right through there. I'm going to draw 3 lines right here for a couple details. And then we're going to draw starting right about where this guideline is, we're going to draw a thin rectangle going up to about there. This is for like the antenna that he has in his helmet. At the top of that, we're going to draw a square and then a triangle connecting to this. So we should have something that looks very similar to this. If it doesn't look like this, if it doesn't look perfect, that's okay. We still have a few more steps. So once we start piecing everything together, you might start seeing where the mistakes are. You might be able to fix it along the way. So starting right about where this line ends and the diagonal line starts, we're going to draw a curve, bringing it down to there. We're going to do the same thing over there, over here on this side. We're going to start up, we're going to draw a curve, and then we're going to bring it right down here. So you can see the image is starting to form. We have the faceplate without the details. We have the rest of his helmet. We have his head shape. We have his accessories on the side. We have a couple little details, even with the 2 little triangles and the little dent. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to draw a rectangle straight up through here. And over at the top of this rectangle, underneath the little guideline that we did right here, we're going to draw another straight line going on top of this rectangle. So we have a little bit of a T shape inside of here with our box and our little line here. And we're just going to bring down a line right to about there. The same thing on the other side. I'm going to bring a line down to right about there. And then we're done with step 1, player 2s. At this point right now, we're going to take our black felt tip pen and black magic marker, and we're going to ink over only the lines that are necessary. In this process, if you see mistakes along the way, fix them. This is it. This will make things jump out at you. If you see something that's not right, once you start inking it over, you're like, whoa, wait a minute. I'm not going to do that. Let me fix that. That's why we always keep our pencils and our erasers handy, as well as our black felt tip pen and black magic marker when we do this. Excuse me, sorry. So I'm going to ink over first the basic shape that we did in the beginning that I was indicating. Here to about there. Then I'm going to go on the outside. Here's our little rectangle that we did right here. Here's our other shape. Our rectangle. And I'm going to try to keep these lines as straight as possible without using a ruler. Our square and our triangle. A couple detail lines here. Our two smaller triangles in here. Our little curve right then. If we do decide to color this image, if we color this darker, it will look like it's more dented. It'll look like it's more put in. When I actually show you what this image would look like in color, you'll see what I'm talking about. Let's go over this little line right there. Right across here. We have a T-shape with the curved line. We have our details inside the mask right here. And right here. And then we have the faceplate. I made another little mistake, but that's okay, I can fix it, because the only problem that I have right here is the line is not as straight as it should be. Down here, up to here, and then right there. And there we have it. We have Boba Fett's helmet complete. Now there's a couple little things that I want to add to this, just a few little details and stuff that will make this pop a little bit more. I'm going to draw one diagonal line, two diagonal lines, three diagonal lines, and one final one. And then inside these lines, I'm going to just shade in some of these areas right here, because what I'm trying to do is indicate that there's a little bit of a glare on his mask. Add a little bit of details. We'll color that in at the bottom right here. Sometimes what helps too is when you do something like this to add details on a glass substance or something like that. I will take my pencil, go back, and I'll just draw right through and just see where the diagonal line will go. So this diagonal line would actually cut off a little bit of here, so I would know that I have to shade in right about there. Let me use this. Fix this line right here. And there you have it, Player 2s. We have just drawn Boba Fett. Give this a few minutes, let your ink dry, grab your eraser or erase all your pencil lines, and then you have a completed image. I hope you enjoyed this art class, Player 2s, and I can't wait for the next one.
There have been quite a few video games based on the Star Wars franchise since the original films were released in 1977. On this edition of the Classic Game Showcase, we're going to spend some time with one of my personal favorites, Star Wars Trilogy Arcade. Star Wars Trilogy Arcade is an arcade-exclusive title developed by Sega and released in 1998. This 3D rail shooter is based on the original trilogy of films, and it was released along with the special editions of these classic movies. This game felt like more than a video game. It was a truly immersive Star Wars experience as players got the opportunity to reenact key scenes from the original trilogy from a first-person perspective in whichever order they chose. In the section based on Star Wars A New Hope, players reenact the Battle of Yavin as they take control of Luke Skywalker's X-Wing fighter and take on squadrons of TIE fighters. In the second part of the mission, players fly along the Death Star's surface, taking out TIE fighters and turret guns before eventually having to battle Darth Vader's TIE Interceptor. The third part is my favorite, as players must fight their way through the battle station's trench in order to fire proton torpedoes at the exhaust port and destroy the Death Star. After that, get ready to venture to the ice planet Hoth in the 3 stages based on The Empire Strikes Back. Players take the controls of a snowspeeder as they fly about the planet's surface, shooting down probe droids and AT-ST walkers, while also assisting other rebel fighters in taking down the monstrous AT-AT walkers. In the second part of the mission, players reenact the escape from the rebel base on Hoth as they must blast through a bunch of snowtroopers and wampas to reach the hangar. When players reach the hangar in the third section of the level, players must fight their way through more snowtroopers and wampas before escaping on the Millennium Falcon. The Return of the Jedi missions take place on the planet Endor and begin with a reenactment of the classic speeder bike sequence, as players race through the forest planet on a speeder bike, shooting down scout troopers along the way. The second part of the stage has players fighting through stormtroopers and Imperial officers to reach the Empire's base on Endor, before taking on a boss battle against an AT-ST walker in the third section of the mission. Completing these 3 levels unlock a special bonus mission, which I won't spoil here, but I'm sure fans of the original trilogy know what comes next. In addition to all of the shooting stages, players also get the opportunity to wield a lightsaber in 2 bonus boss stages. The first has players battling Boba Fett by using their lightsaber to reflect his laser blast back at him, while the other battle has players taking on Darth Vader himself. This game is an awesome experience and a real treat for Star Wars fans. The graphics, sound, and gameplay make players feel like an actual rebel pilot taking on the evil Galactic Empire. Unfortunately, this title was never ported to any home systems, so the only way to play this is in an arcade. But in all honesty, that isn't a bad thing because this game was meant to be experienced in an arcade. I highly recommend checking out this amazing game if you get an opportunity. Until next time, and may the Force be with you.
And that's a wrap on another episode of Rob's Arcade. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share this video to help this channel grow. Also be sure to follow Rob's Arcade at the social media links listed in the description below. Now, as far as the next episode goes, comic book fans are going to love this because we're going to spend some time with one of the most popular Marvel characters of all time. Until then, keep drawing, and I'll see you all next time at Rob's Arcade.